You are now listening to WSN Wolf Sports Network, live from the University of West Georgia in Carrollton, now an Odyssey station.
Live from Carrollton, Georgia, this is Sports Pack.
West Georgia's go-to show for all things sports.
From the best interviews in college radio.
Hey, this is Coach Joel Taylor, head football coach here at the University of West Georgia.
Hey everybody, this is Jeff Bacon, Atlantic Sun Conference Commissioner.
To the hottest takes around.
I wholeheartedly believe that behind Sean Payton and a second-year Bo Nix, the Denver Broncos can dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs and be the AFC West champions.
I mean, plain and simple, the worst decision Kalen DeBoer has ever made is taking the head coaching position at Alabama.
We've got all you need and more right here on Sports Pack.
The Wolves play here.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to another fantastic Monday edition of Sports Pack. I'm your host, Richard Reed, joined today by Cadence Grieven.
Hello.
Jackson Schrader.
What's going on?
And my dog, John Halley, killing
What's
it on
up?
the board as per usual. Also, shout out Daniel Chaney, my guy behind the glass, control the cameras for all of you watching on YouTube. As always, we have a jam-packed Sports Pack episode to get into. A lot to talk about in the college football world as the first college football playoff rankings will be released tomorrow night. We're going to dive into that in a couple minutes. Going to talk about this NFL season. Got to talk about the World Series as the Dodgers are back-to-back champions. I think it's our first back-to-back champions since the 1970s. And the Atlanta Braves have also hired their new manager. It's a whole lot to get into and never enough time. But hopefully you stick around with us for the full hour to watch us how we get to as much of it as we can. Now, before we get started, I just want to remind you that being a broke college student is hard. That's why finding deals on meals is a huge win. At UWG Dine_West, on Instagram, they have daily and weekly specials for the dining halls, Chick-fil-A, and Starbucks. That is at UWG Dine_West on Instagram for all the special deals you could ever need. Westwood's Apartments has also supported us here at Wolf Sports Network a lot as of lately. Their continued support has helped us with our access and experiential learning that we need to excel our careers. At Westwood's Apartments, all utilities are included in the rent, and flat rate pricing is available at livewestwoods.com. Now, John.
Yes, sir.
How about them Wolves?
Is Widener rolls to the right. He's got some time. Everybody's down at the end zone. He heaves it, and it is caught for a touchdown.
We are one. Go Wolves.
Now, this past weekend, it was a little quiet here in the City of Dreams. Well, it wasn't that quiet. It was Halloween weekend, so a lot of people were out and about.
It was a busy weekend for
all
y'all.
kind of things, seeing a lot of ghosts and ghouls all around. But it was a little quiet on the athletic front.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have a soccer game this weekend. We didn't have a football game this weekend as they had their first bye week in 9 weeks. But our volleyball team was in action. Starting off with that very spooky game we alluded to last week. This past Friday, October 31st at 6 p.m., they took on Stetson University, where they lost 3-1. Then, this past Sunday, yesterday at 12 p.m., they played Florida Gulf Coast University and lost 3-2. That game was actually a pretty big win for our women's team, though, because that was our first time winning 2 sets since all the way back in September, in the September 13th matchup against UNC Greensboro. Well, we didn't win 2 sets down. We actually won that match outright. But we hadn't won 2 sets since that matchup back on September 13th.
That's wild.
Guys, our volleyball team is currently sitting at 2-23. 0-12 in conference play, and there are only 4 games remaining. Saying it's been a rough season is a bit of an understatement.
Yeah.
I just want to kind of open it up here. What do you guys expect from our volleyball team going through these next 4 games and moving into the next season?
I think moving into next season, I think the question of coaching staff, are we going to make changes? Because, I mean, at one point with our head coach, D2 days, we were in the playoffs. We were a really solid volleyball team, and I think it comes down to who can possibly take over. I don't think we have the same fire we used to have with our head coach right now for volleyball, so I think it might be a coaching staff change time.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip what I expect this team to do in the next 4 games. So I'm gonna talk about what I want this team to do, and that's just try to finish the season strong.
Take the little things.
Try to get a win or 2, but going into next year, it's definitely time to start looking at the coaching staff. Maybe make a couple of changes because at the college level, winning is what keeps a job. Winning is what builds a program, and we're not winning. And so I think it's time that Mr. Carmichael kind of sits down and maybe figures out what the future of this program looks like.
I definitely have to agree because it's also probably disheartening for these players to like continue to just like try to compete at this level and just fall short almost every single time. And I just feel like as an athlete, something isn't clicking there, and it's like, is this just a coaching staff problem, or is it like a player problem? Are we going to be looking at the transfer portal and just different things like that? I feel like are going to play big into how we are next year.
The transfer portal is definitely going to be a big part here because with the portal, if you put together a good enough class, you were able to pretty much turn the tide on your program overnight. We've seen it in different sports all over. It's definitely possible. But the coaching staff is also part of it. I was at the game this past Friday doing the PA announcing. Very entertaining game against Stetson University. Every single set was close. The girls just weren't able to close. We'd have the momentum early on, then Stetson had battled back, and we lose. It was demoralizing, just to say the least. It was absolutely demoralizing. And this is year 5 under head coach Kara Hellman. And year 5, you're 2-23. It's kind of been on a downward.
Yeah.
This program's been trending down since my freshman year here. It's year 5 in her tenure. My freshman year was year 2. That's back when the team was solid, like John alluded to. Now we're sitting at 2-23. I hate to call for anybody's job. I'm not going to sit here and do that. But when weighing our options here and looking at, okay, what do we need to do to turn this program around?
It's an option.
It's looking like that's the most likely option. We'll see what happens over time, but it's been a very rough volleyball season. Let's hope they win out these last 4 games and end up 6-23, going to the offseason with a positive mindset, a little something to sell recruits and potential transfers to kind of see what we can do to right this ship.
Yeah.
Now, we just mentioned volleyball season about to wrap up, only 4 games left. Football season's winding down as well. We have a game this weekend that we're going to touch on before we move out of this segment. But tonight, our moneymaker. Well, cheerleading is our moneymaker.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
But a couple years ago, our basketball team was legit here at the University of West Georgia.
Those were the days.
Last season, it wasn't as fun, but we still remember the Zaldi Jackson, Camden Otland days. Me, Schrader, and John, we were courtside. Cadence, you don't know. This is before your time here at West Georgia.
We were telling coaches to go get a job at McDonald's. Oh, how I miss
in the
it.
Coliseum, baby.
Undefeated at home, baptized in the Coliseum. It was beautiful.
I mean, my freshman year, I didn't watch this team lose.
Dude, it was
unreal.
It was amazing. And now we have a chance to get back to there tonight on the road in Lincoln, Nebraska, taking on the Nebraska Cornhuskers in our first basketball game, our first men's basketball game of the season. There was an exhibition about a couple weeks ago now against Kennesaw State University. Had a pretty tough loss, ended up losing by around 13 points after going down 28 early. But I'm still excited nonetheless, right? What do you expect to see from our men's basketball team this season?
This season, I expect to see a solid team. Last year, it was rough to be nice. I mean, it wasn't a good season.
It's that transition year.
It was a transition year, but honestly, it was worse than I expected it to be, right? You go and we win the conference the year before, you're thinking you might be a middle-of-the-road team in the transition year, and then be right back to contending the second year, but we stumbled last year. Lost a lot of the roster, just had a tough time, but this year, we were able to retain some people, especially Shelton Williams-Dryden. I mean, he is one of the best players in college basketball, and he's here in Carrollton. We built the roster through the transfer portal, and we retained a lot of people from last year. And so I think this team's going to be able to be a solid team, a team that you don't think is going to lose every game you walk into. They have a chance in every single game that they play, and it's going to be a really fun team to watch this year in the Coliseum.
Yeah, I mean, going to the transfer portal, we got guys from UT Martin, Georgia Southern, Austin P. We brought guys in. But one thing I remember when we were on Triple Threat last year and we interviewed Taurus Watson, he was telling us the young guys, I mean, those guys have put in work, and he told us specifically to look out for these young guys to make a step up. They understand. I mean, these guys stayed. These guys could have gone somewhere, gone to a smaller school, got the playing time. But they stayed. They've trusted coach and just watch for them. Maybe some of them is going to emerge, and that's going to give us the boost to be a better team this year. That's one thing I'll be looking for. And honestly, I just want to see fundamental basketball tonight.
I just think I was gonna say I didn't watch a lot of the basketball last year, honestly, because
and it was fair. We were 6-25.
We
were 6-25.
I think I went to the Georgia Tech game, and that was a fun game. But I'm excited to see what we have in store because based off of what y'all are saying freshman year, I'm hoping that the Coliseum will bring the energy this year and just get the people out there. I feel like that would also help boost morale a little bit too.
The time we were down 20 to Union and on Super Tuesday came back and absolutely wiped them by 20 plus.
When the Coliseum is buzzing, dude.
It's insane.
It makes campus better.
insane.
Yeah.
Dude, the energy inside that Coliseum is ridiculous
It's
when
so
our team
fun.
is good. And we had a good stretch of years, but last year was our first year of Division I ball, and it showed. We were 6-25, 4-8 at home, but this year we really have a chance to fix that. Like John said, bringing a lot of transfers, a lot of young guys that have been developed in this Dave Moore system, a Dave Moore system that is proven
There's anybody
works.
I trust
Exactly.
to put this program on the map.
Exactly.
It's Mr.
Coach
Moore.
Moore.
You're right, because we've seen Dave Moore have elite teams that have made the Division II Sweet 16 a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That was not that long ago. I trust Dave Moore to develop these players and for this team to gel. I'm not expecting a 30-3 season here, but I'm definitely expecting an above 500 season from this team.
Give me
I'm
20.
very excited for it. Another team I'm very excited for is our women's team.
Oh,
Yes.
Every single game
Yes.
was extremely exciting last year. I did not miss a home game in the Coliseum in the second semester because our team was legit. Went 13-17 overall, but like we
Wow.
said, every single game was close. And Schrader, this team hit the portal hard too.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch this women's team because, like you said, last year, sure, we were under 500, but so many of those games were less than 10 points. I mean, they were really close. We watched some heartbreakers in the Coliseum last year.
Remember that that full court shot we saw? I think it was against Central Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
I mean,
incredible.
it was brutal, but this team has only gotten better. The roster, they retained just about every single player on the roster last year, brought in players from the portal, some great high school talent as well. I think this is a team that is going to contend for the conference championship, and we might be sending an appeal to the NCAA.
I agree.
I hope so.
I think this team's legit. I think this team's going to be legit this year. I trust our head coach. I trust that we've watched it since my freshman year. I've watched this team get better and better and better, and I think this could very well be the year. Now, doesn't start off easy. Going on the road today to Eugene, Oregon to take on the Oregon Ducks. The game will tip off at 9 p.m. Eastern time, but we'll be right back here in action on Saturday, November 8th at 2 p.m. versus Gardner-Webb. Come by, say what's up to us. We will definitely be in attendance at that game.
Oh, yeah.
And our men's team, like I said, they're on the road in Lincoln, Nebraska tonight, taking on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And this Friday, they will be home in the Coliseum at 7 p.m., taking on Huntington University right here in the City of Dreams, Carrollton, Georgia. And if you want to hear some play-by-play for that game, tune in to Wolf Sports Network on the Odyssey app or on our website, wolfsportsnetwork.com. We'll be debuting our brand new show inside the Coliseum. We'll have a pregame show, in-game play-by-play and color broadcast, and then a post-game show wrapping up everything you need to know and learn about from this West Georgia Wolves team. It's going to be incredible. Now, before we move out of this segment, I'd be remiss if I did not mention that our football team is out of their bye week, well-rested after playing 9 straight games, beat the bye week, won it, killed it, and now we're going on the road to Florence, Alabama to take on the University of North Alabama, who is coming off a heartbreaking 34-33 overtime loss to the Utah Tech Trailblazers. We're going to dive into a lot more of that game this upcoming Thursday on our episode, on our sixth. What am I saying? We're going to dive into that game. We're going to dive into that game this Thursday on our Sports Pack episode. But for now, that's all we got for UWG. We're going to take a quick ad break. But don't go anywhere, because when we get back, we're diving into this college football playoff picture and letting you know everything you need to know before tomorrow night. This is Sports Pack on Wolf Sports Network.
You are listening to Sports Pack Mondays and Thursdays from 6 to 7.
Welcome aboard to Sports Out of Pocket Airlines, your nonstop flight to the highs and lows of the sports world. This is your Captain Jackson Vole speaking, and this is Flight Path, where we chart every climb and dive, teams taking off to championship skies, and players hitting unexpected turbulence. Buckle up, sports fans, and fasten those seatbelts, because when the whistle blows, we're cleared for takeoff. Listen to Sports Out of Pocket every Wednesday at 6, only on Wolf Sports Network.
Join Wolf Sports Network as we present our 4th tailgate of the season on October 25th.
Breaking down the game between the Central Arkansas Bears and your West Georgia Wolves.
And other matchups from across the college football world.
The action starts at noon, only on Wolf Sports Network.
Tailgate sponsored by Campus Services and Westwood Apartments. Campus Services, from dining, parking, IDs, or mail, visit the Momentum Center, Westwoods Apartments. 100% student living, flat rate utilities, no hidden fees. Wolf Sports Network is back and will feature 3 live shows this fall.
On Mondays and Thursdays at 6, Sports Pack has you covered with all breaking sports news at the University of West Georgia and the entire sports landscape.
On Wednesdays at 6, Sports Out of Pocket is bringing the energy with zero chill, talking all the hot-button issues in professional sports.
And on Friday at noon, we get you ready for your college football weekend with The Playbook.
You won't want to miss out on all the action this semester at Wolf Sports Network.
Sports Out of Pocket has a brand new showtime.
Yeah.
But what time is it at?
I don't know.
It's not 5 to 6. It's not 7 to 8. It's 6-7.
Wolf Sports Network.
College students who binge drank alcohol at least 3 times per week were roughly 6 times more likely to perform poorly on a test or project as a result of drinking. Wolf Sports Network's and Wolf Radio's Drink Responsibly campaign is always here to remind students drinking should be done responsibly and in an environment that discourages overindulging. Faculty won't take hangovers as excuses. Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network are proud to help reduce the 21% of adults with low literacy skills. We are collecting new and gently used books for every UWG pre-K student monthly. Give today by visiting thewolfuwg.com/book drive. That's thewolfuwg.com/book drive.
Baby, it's college football time. Give me my theme music. Talk about low literacy skills, right?
That was tough.
Well, let's jump right into it here. We have a jam-packed college football segment. It's always going to be jam-packed, but tonight is extra special because tomorrow night we have our first CFP college football playoff ranking.
The real rankings
of the season. It's getting real fast. We're going to learn a lot about what this mysterious college football selection committee really values. But before we get into that, I want to talk about 2 games here, both of our hometown teams. First off, the Georgia Bulldogs have done it again, escaping the cocktail party with a 24-20 win against the Florida Gators. Kirby Smart said it best. The Cardiac Bulldogs, the Cardiac Kids, whatever you want to call them. Pretty much every single game has been close. Squeaked by Tennessee. Close loss to Bama. Beat Kentucky. Squeaked by Auburn. Squeaked by Ole Miss. Squeaked by Florida. Got a tough Mississippi State team coming up. This Georgia team just finds a way to win week in and week out. Welcome on to the show, Keyshawn. I got to ask you, do you think this style of play is sustainable for this Georgia Bulldogs team?
Hey, man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it's working all season, might as well keep it rolling. Yeah, they've been winning some tough games, keeping things short against good teams and sometimes kind of these mediocre teams. But, I mean, heading into the playoffs, they're going to be facing much more competition. So, I mean, if they want to pull out these big wins against these playoff teams, then, you know, that keep the game close and, you know, fight it out towards the end type of mentality is going to have to, you know, kind of flourish out in the playoffs.
Schrader?
You know, I am impressed by this Georgia team. I think that Gunnar Stockton has played far better than I expected him to play this season. But I don't know if I'm going to be confident in this play style until they're able to win one of these games without these controversial calls. And I'm not saying that this call should have gone one way or the other way. I'm just saying there's been a lot of games where there have been some calls that have been questionable. And they've played great ball. I mean, Georgia's the halftime adjustments they've made. Like we've said, now it's 12 of their last 13 Power 4 opponents. They have not led at halftime.
Yeah.
But these halftime adjustments that Kirby Smart's making are great, but they're keeping all of these games so close. And when you really start to get into the conference championship season, the playoff season, you're going to be playing teams that are better than Florida, better than Auburn. And so if they can go out against Mississippi State and just beat the brakes off of them, then I'm going to say, yes, this play style is great. It's sustainable. It's whatever. But until they can really beat one of these mid-tier SEC teams without kind of escaping because of a questionable call that you could look at, then I don't know if it's sustainable.
And I understand what you're saying about the calls. I will say this. They did get through Ole Miss without something being questionable.
Yeah.
I do think that DJ Lagway throw at the end of the game was a drop. That ball definitely hit the ground.
Yeah.
That ball definitely hit the ground. But I do understand what you mean, though. When you start getting into the weeds of the schedule, well, not even to the weeds of the schedule, when you get into conference championships and playoffs, you're going to be playing teams like Indiana, like Oregon, teams where there's going to be little to no margin of error. And I do think that's really what we're going to find out what this Georgia Bulldogs team has. Now, there was another big-time game in the state of Georgia as well with the then 8-0, 8th-ranked Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets going on the road to Raleigh, North Carolina to take on the NC State Wolfpack. And C.J. Bailey, the NC State quarterback, put on a performance of a lifetime, was 24 for 32, 340 passing yards, and 2 touchdowns. Then their running back, Jalen Scott, had 24 carries for 196 yards and 1 rushing touchdown with 8.2 yards per clip. John, are you selling your Georgia Tech stock?
Man, have I ever bought any?
Oh,
I'm a Georgia fan. I just despise Tech. I also want to mention one thing about Hayes King having over 500 total yards of offense, by the way.
Yeah.
Played an absolute crazy game. But NC State, they came up from it. I'm a Georgia fan. I hate Georgia Tech. We all know this.
But you never bought any Georgia Tech
You
stock.
have never said you hate Georgia Tech. That has never been documented.
Okay. Well, you should know that for me being a Georgia fan. You've known me for quite a while. But anyways, no, I never have. I don't care. I don't like them.
So you don't believe in this Tech team?
No. Tackle Tech.
I love Tech.
All right. I think America's team fell on Saturday night. I'm gonna take this. I don't know, honestly. Even most Georgia fans were kind of impressed by this Tech team. Every other college football fan looks at this Tech team, and they're doing everything right. They got a program guy as their head coach. He's built this program the right way. It is impossible not to love Haynes King. I mean, he is one of those quarterbacks that I would run through a wall for, die on a hill for. He plays he plays football the way it's intended to be played. And I mean, 500 total yards in a loss, a heartbreaking loss. But as we've said, Georgia Tech stumbles. It's what the ACC does to itself. You get into the late side of the schedule. Teams like NC State in Raleigh at night, they'll get you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just what happens. You see it year in and year out. So this loss isn't surprising to me. I think it could have been predicted if you looked at the schedule. But I'm not selling my Tech stock. I think this is a team that's built to contend, and I think they still have a very, very large chance to win the conference. And I think this is a wake-up call. I think they might have needed this. So I think they're going to learn from this loss moving forward. They don't have a hard schedule, and they're going to be able to recover.
Yeah, they're good, bro. I mean, it's just one game. Like you said, NC State, this was predictable. I mean, they're a good program over there. Have, Jeremiah Smith's former QB as their quarterback. So, he's been balling. This is not his first time in the system. So, I mean, honestly, I expected this. The defense really showed his vulnerability to that game. I mean, offensively, Haynes King did exactly what he needed to do.
C.J. Bailey, he'll get you, bro.
He's real deal.
Yeah.
He's real deal.
He shredded that defense. So, I mean, honestly, this is just a tune-up game going into the playoffs. Now you know where your vulnerabilities at, what you need to improve and going to the playoffs. So, I mean, it's just a wake-up call, like Schrader said.
I will say this about Georgia Tech. John, I don't agree with you. I started buying Georgia Tech stock midway last season.
Yeah.
Then the Georgia game last year really kind of solidified it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think this Georgia Tech team is better overall. Yes, they lost Eric Singleton to Auburn, but they still have a very good, strong squad.
I don't know if that's going well for Eric Singleton, man.
Yeah, he made a bad decision.
On paper, it looked good. I know he's probably getting paid more at Auburn, but I wish he would have stayed on this Tech team as well.
Oh,
but when you look at this team, obviously everybody's been building them up, saying this team is great, myself included, because they're a really good team. But everybody said after the Clemson game, this team was building, this season was building to the Georgia game, rivalry week, November 28th. But this loss to NC State is a little sobering because now you realize you have a pretty tough Boston College team coming up. But the week before you play Georgia, you have Pitt coming in to Atlanta to take you on. And I'm going to be honest here. This Pitt team is good. They're 7-2. 5-1 in the ACC. This team is legit and has been flying under a lot of people's radars. And this could be a big-time look-ahead spot for Georgia Tech because now they already have one conference loss. That Pitt game is a week before they play Georgia. Brent Key thinks about Georgia every night. It was the West Georgia versus Georgia Tech basketball game last year.
I remember this.
Brent Key, the Georgia Tech head football coach, came onto the court at halftime and started giving a speech. At the end of his speech, he said, "To hell with Georgia." At the West Georgia game. I mean, he thinks about UGA all the time. This could be a big-time look-ahead spot for this Georgia Tech program that already has one loss on their schedule. They do not need to overlook this game against the Pitt Panthers. I don't expect them to, but this could be another spot they slip up before they play the Dogs on the 28th.
Yeah, I mean, this Pitt team is so talented. You can't look ahead of them, one, because they are third in the conference right now, but two, they have not lost a game since they put Mason Heinschel in at quarterback, this true freshman who is unbelievably talented through the air and can run the ball, adds a whole dimension to this offense, and they have not scored less than 30 when he's in. So that's a big trap game for Tech.
No, it really, really could be. Now, before we move on, I do have to make mention to one last thing here. Like I said at the beginning of the segment, the College Football Playoff Selection Committee is getting together right now. They will announce the first official rankings tomorrow night. When looking at this, the big conversation is who's going to be the number one team in the country. You have the Indiana Hoosiers sitting at 9-0. You also have the Ohio State Buckeyes sitting at 8-0. You also have an undefeated Texas A&M Aggies team sitting at 8-0 in first place in the SEC. So, John, I want to start with you. When you look at these three teams here, which one do you think is most deserving to be the number one seed in the first go-around the rankings?
Honestly, for me, I think you're going to keep Ohio State there. I mean, it's sometimes I've seen in the past where they just keep that to start it off. They're going to keep it to what it was. They'll change maybe the second, third, and fourth spot, and they'll go through the rest. I see it as just Ohio State. They've had a dominant season so far. They're scoring. Their defense looks really good. I mean, your biggest win is Texas and Illinois. Those are your two biggest wins. And, I mean, you did beat a rival in Penn State, but obviously they are gutted from what they were at the beginning of the season. But I think for right now, they'll probably pull the safety blanket over and just go with Ohio State at the one.
You know, I would like to agree with you, but I think that Indiana has a really strong case to be the number one team in the nation. One, because I think they have a better resume than Ohio State. Ohio State's resume it's not great. Now they're taking care of business. They're dealing with what they've been given, but this Indiana team has shown that they're not last year's Indiana team. Mendoza's playing like he could be the best quarterback in college football, but they're winning these games with scores that you only see from certain teams, and those are teams that win the national championship. The scores of the games that they have played, they've scored 50-plus points 5 times this season, and their defense is playing lights out. And these are scores that you see from teams like 2019 LSU, what was it, 2018 Clemson.
I think it was 2017.
Whichever one had Trevor Lawrence, and they just went crazy.
16 and 18, if I'm correct.
I think it was 18.
Yeah.
16
but
was
these are
historically
great.
These are historic numbers.
Yeah. Right.
And that's why I think they have a great shot to be the number one team in the nation, and I think they deserve to be the number one team in the nation.
I'm going to have to go with Ohio State with this one. I mean, they're picking up where they left off last season with the national championship win, and now they're undefeated. I mean, beating every team. They have their star power quarterback. They have the star powers at the receiver position. They have the coaches aligned. Everything's looking good. Everything's going great for Ohio State. So, I mean, they've been at that top spot basically all season. I mean, I don't really see a reason to move them now.
I think it's going to be Indiana as well. And even, John, you just mentioned their two toughest matchups of the season for Ohio State. The Texas Longhorns, really how good is that win now?
True.
You also say Illinois, the Fighting Illini. Well, Indiana played that exact same team. Ohio State won that game against Illinois 34-16. Indiana beat the Illini 63-10. It's just the margins of victory for this Indiana team will set them apart. 10-point win against Oregon, who is going to be ranked in the top 12 as well. This is a very talented Indiana team. And if the College Football Playoff Committee is anything worth their salt, if what they say is true, and what they've been saying is that they're going to start using advanced metrics, taking strength of schedule into account, if they're really going to do that, then I feel like Indiana should be 1, and maybe even Texas A&M at 2. Because when we look at A&M, they have big wins against Notre Dame.
They have a resume.
They have a real deal resume. They beat Notre Dame, what was a classic. We all know Notre Dame's a good team. They've beaten LSU. They're about to play Missouri. They've beaten Florida, a Florida team that has a win against Texas, the same Texas team that Ohio State squeaked out a win against, and also just took Georgia to their limit this past weekend, and Texas A&M beat them by double digits. So if I'm doing this top 3, I'm going Indiana 1, Ohio State 2, Texas A&M 2, and Ohio State at my 3, which isn't not discounting how good Ohio State is. It's just taking into account they have not played the same caliber of teams as those other teams have.
Yeah, and just to build up Indiana a little more, they haven't allowed more than 20 points this season. So they've scored over 60 they've scored over 50 points 5 times, and they have yet to allow more than 20.
Yep, and the only game where they even allowed 20 was that win against Oregon, where they ended up winning 30-20.
Exactly.
So, this team's legit. I believe in Indiana, and it looks like they are on a direct collision course with Ohio State. They only have 3 games left on their slate, on the road against Penn State this Saturday, against Wisconsin 2 weeks from now, a bye week, and then at Purdue on the 28th. Then Ohio State goes to Purdue this weekend, play UCLA, which could be a tricky game for Ohio State. It's a home game in the shoe, though, so I'm not doubting them. They play against Rutgers at home, and then on the road against Michigan. That's the tricky game for Ohio State here.
Michigan's a little quiet this year, but
Michigan's
sneaky.
Michigan's a 2-loss team.
Yeah,
taking care of business, running the ball. Bryce Underwood is getting more and more comfortable.
He's on pace for 9 touchdowns this year.
Look, I mean, this is a solid Michigan team,
winning,
and when you look at that matchup, you can never discount it because Ohio State's lost to Michigan 4 years in a row now.
Oh yeah,
this year
it's
would
been a
make
while.
it 5. So it's going to be very interesting, but it's looking like Ohio State and Indiana are on a collision course. Now, we got some more sports to touch on. Some breaking news out of the NBA. The Atlanta Hawks announced this past Saturday in the middle of the Georgia-Florida game that Trae Young will be out for at least 4 weeks with a knee sprain. I say at least because he's going to be out these 4. Then they're saying he's going to be reevaluated at the 4-week mark. So there's a chance Trae Young won't even be back after missing this next month of Hawks basketball. John, what's your knee-jerk reaction to that news?
I mean, it's not good. It's also referenced in a couple articles that he tore a good chunk of ligaments in there, and that's why you're going to have to reassess. So now what I'm looking for, who's going to step up in his position? Because obviously Trae Young, I mean, we've built around him. He's our guy. We've talked about him for years on end. So who can step up in his position? I mean, obviously the other day we played really well, but we got to see what's young guy or who's going to be the leader on the team. Who will lead them from this injury?
I say Jalen Johnson. I mean, he's averaging the most points on the team. He's stepping up big time, filling the shoes of Trae Young, as well as you have Kristaps Porzingis back now. So I expect him to get in the mix a little bit, as well as the number 1 overall pick from last season. I mean, his minutes are going to have to go up, and his production is going to have to go up as well because they're going to be missing Trae Young with the playmaking ability, and his presence on the court changed the whole dynamic offensively for them. So, like you said, I'm looking for that big guy to step up. I'm expecting it to be Jalen Johnson. I'm hoping it to be, hopefully, Zach as well and Kristaps Porzingis.
I think you're right. I think the obvious choice is Jalen Johnson here. Even look at the Hawks' most recent game last night. Jalen Johnson had 23 points and 13 rebounds against a very talented Cleveland Cavaliers team. Yeah, the Hawks lost 117 to 109 because they went down big early in the second quarter. But when you look at this team, like you said, they have guys that can step up. Jalen Johnson, Zachary Rushasev, Nickeil Alexander-Walker dropped 16 points last night. Kristaps Porzingis, Dyson Daniels. We're just going to need more out of these guys. And hope Emeka Okongwu as well coming off the bench when Kristaps does play. So we're just going to need to see these guys really step up and mature. That way when Trae eventually does come back, and what's likely going to be a month and a half, probably a 4 to 6 week injury here, when he does come back, I hope the rest of the supporting cast has really gelled and risen to the occasion. That way, when Trae comes in and gets back to doing what Trae does, the rest of the team around him will be much better as well. Oh, yeah. That's my hope as a very delusional Hawks. Just bear with me.
As long as they stay above 500, we're good.
We also have some FBS college basketball action tonight as well with our reigning national champion, Florida Gators, taking on the 13th ranked Arizona Wildcats. Now, this is going to be a very interesting matchup, obviously, because the Florida Gators, they're coming off of, wait a minute. Time out. Schrader, I just realized why you made a face. We have much bigger news than this right now. I'm sorry. I hate to edge everybody with that news. Just know Florida and Arizona are playing tonight. But who would I be if I did not take the time to congratulate the Los Angeles Dodgers for winning this year's World Series, our first back-to-back champion since what? 1977, Trace?
2000.
Wait.
The Yankees won 3 in a row from 98 to 2000.
They did?
They did.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to the Dodgers nonetheless. They won 2 in a row for the first time in the 2020s.
Yes.
It was a great World Series.
Great is an understatement.
Schrader, walk us through what really set the Dodgers apart in this.
Honestly, yes, but luck. I think whoever won that World Series was just going to get lucky. This was, in my opinion, this might have been the greatest World Series we've ever seen. I think the amount of memorable moments, controversial moments, and just great baseball that we saw. I mean, a Game 7 going to extras is quite the treat, man. I mean, as a guy who's not a fan of either of those teams, who just wants to watch the game, that's baseball in its best form. And I can't believe you almost talked about college basketball over the greatest World Series we've seen in years.
And,
man.
I apologize for that. My tabs were out of order. I opened it up, and I had MLB last for some reason.
I was about to crash out.
And like that,
it to me.
so if you don't know, a little bit of glimpse behind the scenes, I have my laptop in front of me, which I think you can see, but I have my tabs in order, so I click, we all read left to right, so I clicked my first one that said the Hawks and the Cavs. I clicked the next one. It was college basketball, so I just jumped right into it. I had MLB last for some reason, but like you said, Schrader, the World Series was incredible. The best one I've seen in my lifetime.
Dude, this was unreal.
And then the fact that, like you said, I'm a neutral fan as well. I'm a Braves fan, so it's been a hard season for me. But I'm not a fan of either of these teams, so I'll just sit there watching it for the love of the game. But I felt the pain of every single Blue Jays fan when that runner was out by less than, a centimeter?
Brutal stuff.
Dude, it was incredible.
Bases loaded and you don't get a run. That's the biggest no-no in baseball right there.
It was wild. It was wild. Definitely a great World Series. I would love to relive it. Hopefully every World Series moving forward is like this, but we all know that's not going to happen. Like you said, Schrader, it was one of the greatest of all time. But, John, we also have some news from the Braves front office, do we not?
Yes. As of about not even less than an hour, or a little bit over an hour ago, the Braves decided to hire Walt Weiss as their next manager, and it's been the comment section has been very calm. It's really not. A lot of people are very upset by it. He is now the 49th manager. He was a manager with the Colorado Rockies and is a two-time World Series champion. And he was, I don't have too much information on him right now. I know he's our bench coach and everything. I know this Marlins fan over here wants to really shame AA. But, I'll say one thing. He's got a .680 and .513 record. Is the second best in the National League and the fourth best Major League Baseball when it comes to him in the club. So,
all right, well, Schrader.
They're hiring from within.
As John said, I'm a Marlins fan. Honestly, there's not a pro team I despise more than the Atlanta Braves. And I've said that I think AA is one of the most, if not the most, overrated GMs in the MLB, and I think it's really he's starting to show the fruits of that. I think that he's an old dog that can't be taught new tricks. What this team needed was not another 60-something-year-old man hired from within that's going to keep the culture that they have. The culture that they have right now is kind of broken. It's been a locker room that doesn't agree. You have your star player trashing your manager time and time again. There's been some discrepancies on how certain players have been treated. What this team needed was a young guy that completely flips the culture. It needed a culture change. And what AA did was he just copied Snitker and made him 10 years younger. Right. That's all he really did, and that's really what he's done. In 2021, he got lucky with one method working, and ever since then, he's tried to replicate that exact same thing. We saw this team at the deadline this year with a chance to still compete for the playoffs, compete for a championship, and they didn't do anything. The year before, they traded for it's this year they went and got Jorge Soler, right? Year prior. They've had opportunities to make a splash, take a risk, and he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. And I think that it's starting to show that 2021 season was great for the Braves. It was huge for the franchise. But I don't think AA is going to get them close to there. I don't like this hire, and I think he could have done better.
So you see there's a lot of mixed feelings around the baseball world talking about this Braves move. A lot of people haven't been really talking about it on the national stage because, obviously the World Series just ended. Everybody's celebrating the Dodgers, talking about how great that series was. But a lot of people in Braves circles are kind of split on this. Some people are kind of like, I guess we'll see what happens, kind of how I am. I don't really have the biggest opinion on it. I'm just kind of like, guess we'll kind of see how it goes. But others like Schrader are very outspoken about it, saying that the Braves need change. And I can't necessarily say that they're wrong because, like you said, obviously what's been going on inside that building has not been working. But alas, only time will tell. Now, we're going to take a quick song break, but when we return, we're going to dive into this past NFL weekend and make our Monday Night Football picks. Don't go anywhere. This is Sports Pack on Wolf Sports Network.
Hey y'all, it's Schrader. Now don't go anywhere because you're listening to Sports Pack here on Wolf Sports Network. The Wolves play here.
Hello? Can anybody hear me? I can't see anything. It's like a snowstorm out here.
JT, I need your help.
What? Who goes there?
I'm the ghost of Out of Pocket Past.
Nah, bro. I don't mess with ghosts.
But I need a sports fan that has zero chill.
Well, now that you mentioned that, this is going to be Out of Pocket. Tune in to Season 6 of Sports Out of Pocket, Zero Chill. Wednesdays at 6 on Wolf Sports Network. Man, this beat brings back memories. Anyways, let me tell you all about this show on Wolf Sports Network. Get with the playbook. Get with the playbook. Get with the playbook. It's the playbook. Hear us talk about all college basketball, football, and baseball. Fridays at noon. The Playbook, only on Wolf Sports Network. It ain't just a game. It's everything. This is where the best separate themselves from the rest. But to be the best, you gotta read the best. And the best is the Playbook. Tune into the Playbook, Fridays at noon on Wolf Sports Network. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live at Playbook Training Camp. Now we throw it down to Joey, who's interviewing head coach Brandon Dyer.
Thanks, JT. I'm here with head coach Brandon Dyer. And Brandon, there have been many reports about starting punter Jackson Voss saying that he peaked in high school. Now, what are your thoughts on how he will perform this semester with the Playbook?
Well, Joey, I have full confidence that Jackson Voss will be a breakout star for the Playbook this season, and you'll find out Fridays at noon only on Wolf Sports Network.
You can now add dining dollars or block meal plans at any time at UWG dine underscore at westga.edu/dine west. Excuse me, this is kind of worded weird. More information can be found at UWG dine underscore west on Instagram. Once again, because of Westwood's Apartments, Wolf Sports Network can continue its success and experiential learning that we need for our careers. Did you know that at Westwood's Apartments, all utilities are included in the rent? Flat rate pricing and costs are all located at livewestwoods.com. That is livewestwoods.com. In the NFL, only one thing matters: chasing a dynasty. What are y'all laughing about? What's funny?
How about the Falcons? Yeah. Just
the Falcons play football this weekend.
Just in a good mood, man. They play.
Very entertaining game up in Foxborough, taking on the then 6-2 New England Patriots. Very entertaining game from start to finish. The Falcons find a way to go down 21-7 early in the second half. Throughout in the first half, excuse me, and then right at the end of the first half, we're about to just accept that we're about to get stomped out. Defense stepped up, strip sack from Jalen Walker, almost returned by James Pierce, gets us in the red zone. Drake London touchdown, make it 21-14 going into the second half. Falcons played a spectacular first half, scoring 9 points in the fourth, but it's kind of weird that we scored 9 points, isn't it?
Had a bit 10, right?
I wonder what happened.
Had a field
Parker
goal early.
Romo.
Go ahead touchdown at the end of the game to try to tie
John
it
doesn't
up.
like that guy.
And then the Falcons kicker, Parker Romo, misses the extra point that would have tied up this game. Patriots get the ball back, get a big first down, run out the clock. The Falcons lose this game 24-23 after an incredible performance with 9 catches, 118 yards, and 3 touchdowns from Drake London. Still wasn't enough. And the Atlanta Falcons fall flat against the Drake May-led New England Patriots, who are now 7-2 and firmly in the driver's seat of the AFC East. John, I want to start with you.
Yeah.
John,
John, let's start with me.
How do you feel about the Falcons after this performance against the Patriots?
Let me read you the stat my dad sent me earlier. In the last 10 seasons, the teams were 64-0 whenever they had at least 2 turnovers and at least 5 sacks. The Falcons made that 64-1 after 2 turnovers and 6 sacks. 6 sacks, count them all, and the loss to the Patriots. That's what sums it up for me right there. I don't understand what we're doing. I guess the one thing that came down to at the very end was the so-called clapping that the Patriots said, I don't see it.
That is the most
irrelevant.
irrelevant.
The one thing is,
Clapgate's kind of crazy.
I'm about to say, the center, I don't know what you're doing looking at a too high safety look. There shouldn't be nothing there. You shouldn't be able to hear out there. You shouldn't be looking at a too high safety when you're the center. I think he just snapped the ball by accident.
I'm gonna be honest, John. It isn't really targeted at you. I thought you were going to talk about our kicker, Parker Romo.
No, I've already had too much rambling today about Parker Romo.
Well, I mean, you haven't done it on the show, but here's my thing here. talking about the clapping is the most stupid thing in the world. I mean, I'm not calling you stupid. I'm really talking to Raheem Morris here.
Yes.
Because he chose to focus on the clapping in his
fingers.
post-game press conference, saying that the Patriots were cheating, doing whatever, doing something they weren't allowed to do. That was the most insignificant part of the game.
Yeah.
The team rallied. The team battled. The defense rose to the occasion. And he's sitting here making excuses talking about clapping. I think it's a cop-out. I think it's stupid. I think it's cheap. I hate the fact that he's talking about that when we just lost a heartbreaking game. A heartbreaking game. It was incredible. Our kicker missed a kick at the end of the game that would have took us to probably overtime against this very talented Patriots team, and he's trying to say that the Patriots cheated by clapping and doing some kind of signaling.
They never did.
They
never did.
You just lost to a good team in heartbreaking fashion, and the fact that he could not accept that and tried to sit here and say that the Patriots defense was cheating in some way, shape, or form was disgusting to me.
Yeah, so I think this game is starting to show some of the dysfunction in the front office of this organization. I've been critical of Fontenot for a little while.
I think we all have.
Yeah, I do not like really what he's done, but the issue is this is a talented roster. The Falcons have a roster that is better than 3-5. They had a roster last year that was better than whatever they finished last year.
8-9.
Yeah, I mean, they have a roster that can do the job, but the issue is all this organization has done this year is point fingers.
Yes.
From the get-go, and we talked about it when they let go of Koo and they made these coaching changes in week 3.
Fired
and
the wide receivers coach.
Some people are going, yeah, this is what we need change. It's week 3. You don't need change. You don't need to be pointing fingers that early, and when you start pointing fingers that early, it shows that this front office doesn't have what it takes to be a contender. And now you have your coach, after a heartbreaking loss, immediately pointing fingers at one of the most insignificant that you shouldn't be pointing fingers there. You should just say, you know what? We missed the kick that could have given us an opportunity.
Right.
But the issue is, I don't think you should have cut Youngway that early.
I don't either.
I think
It's literally week 1.
You're throwing your wide receivers coach under the bus really early, and then you're cutting Koo way too soon. You're doing things that you need to wait till the offseason to do, but you're doing them early in the season. Sometimes the team's going to stumble out of the gate. There were a lot of new faces. You know, you might think, hey, maybe we'll find our footing eventually, but that's not what they did. They're not patient. They think they're in win-now mode, but they haven't won then. It's been almost a decade since the last time this team's made the playoffs.
Yep.
They need to take it slow. They need to build something, and I don't think they're doing that. I think the front office needs a change.
Yeah, if anything, they should be pointing fingers, it should be at themselves. I mean,
Exactly.
they have the roster, like you said. They had it this year. They had it last season. They have the QBs. They have the receivers, the defense, the offense. They have everything. So I mean, at this point, if you keep changing coaches and they're backpedaling mid-season, trying to make all these sudden changes all at one time, I mean, you're going to get 3-5. And when you're playing a good 7-2 team like the Patriots, I mean, just take it under chin.
Maybe give Bijan the ball more than 12 times. Too.
How about it? How about it?
Thank you. He is the glue to the offense. He makes everything go. He's their guy. You drafted him, top 10, top 15. Give him the ball. Let him work.
I think we can all see here that the problem with the Falcons is not the players, not the infrastructure. The defense is young and surging. Just had 6 sacks against a very talented Patriots team.
Look what Drake London just did.
Drake London looks
Penix
incredible.
played amazing.
Penix probably played his best game of the season so far. Bijan hardly got the ball, but we know what Bijan is. Like I said, the defense is young and surging. It's the coaching staff of the front office. That is what's holding the Falcons back. Until we get some people that really believe in this program and are willing to take accountability when they need to, instead of pointing fingers like Schrader just said, this Falcons team will not win until we have the right people running the show.
I'm getting fired up, and I'm not even a Falcons fan, dude.
Dude, it's making
at one point.
Just put Richard Reed in as GM.
How about it? I've been applying on LinkedIn every single year. Every time we have an opening, I'm gonna send an email to Arthur Blank after the show. I'm gonna let him know all we can do. Hopefully, I can get an audience with him and his people. His president of football operations. Apparently, the Falcons have a CEO, and he can't even explain what his job is. He was on 680 The Fan last week. Me and Michael were listening.
Ball watcher. I don't
and
know.
he was like, they were like, "What do you do as CEO of the Falcons?" He was like, when you start off with, well, that's a good question, you know, you know there's a problem.
That is textbook.
You know there's a problem.
I need to buy some time.
Now I got to move on because as black as I am, I'm sitting here turning red. The Minnesota Vikings and J.J. McCarthy's return to football after their loss to the Falcons earlier this season came back against what people thought was probably going to be his toughest opponent of the season, the Detroit Lions, and he played very good football. He was 14 for 25, 143 yards, had an interception, but he also had 2 touchdowns as well in the Vikings' 27-24 win against the Detroit Lions. The Vikings defense really showed up in this one and impressed me. But before we really talk about this game, I also have to talk about Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears. 47-42 win in a crazy back-and-forth matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. And then you have the Carolina Panthers beating the Green Bay Packers, who at that point had the best record in the entire NFC, 16-13, in what was probably Jordan Love's worst game of the season. His stats say one thing: 26 for 37, 273 yards, and no touchdowns, and a very ugly pick. But it was not a pretty game for this Packers team. So when you look at all 4 of these teams in the NFC North, it's obvious. It's anybody's race at this point.
Yeah.
So, Keyshawn, I want to start with you. When looking at those 4 teams, the Vikings, the Lions, the Bears, and the Packers.
Oh my!
Who do you think is the who do you think is the alpha dog in the NFC North?
Honestly, everybody's the alpha dog. I mean, when you look at the rankings, it's the strongest division in all of football, right?
Probably.
Everybody's there is above 500, at 500 or more. So I mean, honestly, it's anybody's division to win or lose at this point. I mean, if I had to give it to anybody, I mean, honestly, I'd say the Lions. I give the edge to the Lions over the Packers. But I mean, other than that, I mean, it's anybody.
What about Chicago?
Dude, I mean, Chicago's playing great ball. Ben Johnson they kind of look like he might be established up there, which you don't get in year one quite often.
You saw what plays they called on Sunday, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what Ben Johnson does. And Caleb Williams, we know he has the talent. I mean, obviously, we've seen what he can do. I think they could get into a really good form midseason. But to answer your question, who's the top dog, there isn't one.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say it. I'm not going to act like I know. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say this division is wide open. I mean, Dad's yelling at you because you're leaving the door so open that you're giving AC to the neighborhood. It's a wide open division. And this division, the NFC North, in my opinion, is the most entertaining division in the NFL because it's the most passionate fan bases. I mean, each one of these fan bases are known for their passion. This Detroit fan base, they sold out Ford Field when this team was terrible forever, and now that they're good, it's so great to see. We obviously know what Green Bay is like. Chicago, Soldier Field gets rocking, and then Minnesota is its own environment. This division, when it's great like it is this year, is something that you just need to watch. Take it in, because that is pro football at its best.
I want to lean the Lions with a full bias too, but you're honestly right by saying you're leaving the door open. You're letting too much AC out into the neighborhood. You don't know at this point. Honestly, you could see the Bears and the Vikings.
Wrong sport, buddy.
Yeah, wrong sport. But the Bears and the Vikings kind of go on that midseason form and getting really good. I mean, J.J. McCarthy, I thought they were in a little bit of a panic mode for who's going to be the starting quarterback? Well, J.J. McCarthy. But then, obviously, I saw him. He was throwing some really good passes. The breadbasket to Jay Jettis for that touchdown.
He was confident.
Absolutely, yeah, he looks good. I'm saying kind of down the road, you could see this absolutely flipped 180 from where we are right now. You could see these, the Bears and maybe the Vikings in 1 and 2 right there.
Dude,
you could see. You don't know at this point.
O'Connell could make me an All-Pro quarterback. I mean, putting J.J. McCarthy in his system is. It's wide open, dude.
Then with that Brian Flores defense behind them, the Vikings are a real deal contender. When I look at this conference, I see 3 playoff teams. I think there is no doubt this conference will produce 3 playoff teams. I'm looking at the Lions here. Obviously, even after getting behind this game, their offensive line was obliterated by that Brian Flores-led pass rush of the Vikings. But they still rallied in the end and had a chance to win it in the end. They really they put the clamps on this Vikings offense in the second half and really paved the way for Jared Goff and the guys to lead a comeback. They weren't able to get it done. They were onside kick away, but they were very close to having it. I believe in the Lions not selling any stock.
No.
In this division, teams are going to cannibalize each other.
Yes.
But I also look at the Bears here.
Go
They're
Bears.
a very talented team. They were gashed by Joe Flacco, who threw for 470 yards.
What legacy games does he have?
Oh my
How many?
I think he found the fountain of youth, guys.
Joe Flacco threw for 470 yards. T. Higgins had 7 catches for 121. Jamar Chase had 6 catches for 111. Chase Brown had 8 catches for 75 yards. They played a crazy team.
Whoever's in charge of that defense.
Dude, it's wild. But so, it's easy to call the Bears defense into question here. But this is a Bears defense that's been a solid unit throughout the season. They coming off a loss last week to Baltimore, but they kind of shut down the Saints, bottled up the Commanders a little bit. But like I said, you can really kind of call their defense into question, but that offense is undeniable. You have Caleb Williams throwing for 3 touchdown passes and catching 1 as well. Ben Johnson is scheming guys open. Roma Dunze didn't even have a catch yesterday, but he's one of the better young receivers in all of football.
Colson Lovin was playing quarterback.
Colston Loveland played quarterback at one point and then had a monster
I was about to say,
40-yard catch.
that's the first thing you say about Loveland,
That's
bro?
what I'm saying. He had a monster 40-yard catch to walk off the game. I mean, this Bears offense is legit.
Yeah.
And then I'm still not quite going to sell my Packers stock yet.
Oh,
I'm not
no.
sure what their offense has going on. They lost Tucker Kraft. He tore his ACL.
The
He's out
Panthers
for
will
the
get
season.
anybody, though.
Yeah, the Panthers are a very sneaky team
Ryan
in the
Fitzgerald,
NFC.
Florida State GOAT, by the way.
But when you look at this Packers team, they're very hard. They're very hard to watch at times because they're 5-2-1, tied against the Cowboys. Lost to the Browns was an ugly game that looked very similar to this game against the Panthers. But just last week against the Steelers that just dismantled a red-hot Colts team, they dropped 35 points, and Jordan Love looked some of the best he's looked in his entire career.
Yep.
So when you look at this division, it's just a wash. You don't know what you're going to get.
Yep.
But I do think we get 3 playoff teams out of it, and those 3 teams
Yep.
for me are the Lions, the Bears, and the Packers.
Oh, my.
Now, we have a Monday Night Football matchup to get into with our remaining time of the show. The Arizona Cardinals going on the road to Jerry's World to take on the Dallas Cowboys. Before we get into our picks, John, remind the people of our policy.
Got you.
Sports Pack and Wolf Sports Network are not liable for any financial losses that may occur due to using our picks outside of the show. These are just our opinions. Don't blame us. Blame the players. Now, I did not realize how pressed for time we were, so let's make some speed picks here. John, I want to start with you. Cardinals are without Kyler Murray in today's game. Jacoby Brissett will be starting his second straight game as the Cardinals quarterback. Played really well last week, though. Do you think they have enough to get past this high-powered Cowboys offense?
No. I think it's the Cowboys tonight. Their offense is, like you said, high-powered. It's everywhere across the field. I mean, not that Jacoby Brissett is a good backup quarterback, but I don't know. The Cardinals are a weird team. They're a weird functioning team. I got the Cowboys tonight.
This sucks. Both these teams stink.
Crap.
I mean, I got Jacoby Brissett on my fantasy team. Cowboys secondary is kind of dookie, so I'm just gonna go with the Cardinals just because it'd be nice. But
hoping for a shootout.
Yeah, I'm really hoping for a shootout. I need a Jacoby Brissett legacy game, but we need some better primetime games because this is if we get something stupid to follow the monstrosity that happened last night, I'm not going to be a happy camper.
Simple it is. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys here. I mean, Cardinals lost 5 straight. They're without Kyler Murray. Easily. Plus, I got Dak as my starting fantasy quarterback. So
you need the points
tonight.
You need the points tonight, yeah.
I need him tonight.
I got the Cowboys as well. I think they have one of the best offenses in football, and they're really going to look to bounce back after an embarrassing 44-24 loss to the Denver Broncos. I think this Cardinals team can be sneaky at times. Jacoby Brissett played really well in their last game against the Packers. They're coming off a bye week as well, so they had extra time to prepare. But some offenses, unless you have guys like Patrick Surtain and Nick Bonito on your defense like the Broncos do, there's really not much preparation you can do to kind of stop this team. Dak Prescott's playing some of the best ball of his career. Javonte Williams looking like a top 5 running back in football. And George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb are arguably the best wide receiver duo in the game. I think the Cowboys win this. I think they win it kind of comfortably. I expect Jacoby Brissett for you fantasy owners to put up some decent numbers.
Thank you.
Because the Cowboys secondary is banged up and bruised.
They're so bad.
But I think the Cowboys win this game here. Now, that's all the time we got for Sports Pack tonight. I want to thank you all for tuning in. We'll be right back here on Thursday, same bat time, same bat channel, previewing this weekend's slate of games and reacting to the college football playoff selection show that is going down tomorrow night. Can't wait to see you there. This is Sports Pack on Wolf Sports Network.